Welcome back to the channels. Today I wrap up my deep dive series on the 2024 NFL draft class with the wide receiver position. Today we're going to be talking about 15 guys because this is a really good position group this season. But in a couple of weeks I'm going to give you a top 200 big board because there's some other guys that I didn't get through on my first watch alongs that I kind of want to add to it. But it'll be then I'll have my Google spreadsheet available for y'all to see all my full evals and what's not. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this with Jalen McMillan here at number 15. And that's right, I threw a third round grade on him. I literally have 15 guys as day one or day two grades. I think there's a lot of potential in this class, and for me it all starts here. I have him listed as a vertical slot player. As you'll notice if you end up getting my Google spreadsheet with my evals and whatnot, I have a separate tab for guys that I think are slot only receivers and just guys that I think could play inside and out. So yeah, I'm telling y'all, the Google spreadsheet looks freaking beautiful. But Jalen McMillan, former 4-star recruit out of the 2020 class, played baseball in high school. He was actually a decorated sprinter. He also participated in the Junior Olympics track and field prior to high school. So yeah, the dude has some speed. He had 9 starts in 2021 and then 7 starts last year, this time mainly in the slot. In 2021 he was mainly on the outside, was far more effective this past season. But he's a super good athlete, great suddenness, good balance, makes defenders miss after the catch, a very smooth mover in general. And he goes from pass catcher to ball carrier really quickly. 16 forced missed tackles this past season. Once he sees daylight, then he's taking the shot, he's taking the swing, he's going for the home run play, and he does that with very blazing speed. He tracks the ball exceptionally well downfield, high points the football pretty darn well as well, and he's got some length to him, man. He uses those arms to create extra separation, or separation maybe he needs in tighter coverage. He maintains his speed during and throughout the route, stays low when approaching like the stem, and he looks very crisp out of his breaks. Just overall very fluid athlete, stop-start ability, just a good athlete in general. However, the slim frame at 6'1", 189, not a terrible weight, but is a little bit more slim. He will occasionally get knocked off during his route, kind of like just messing up the timing. We've seen inconsistencies with his hands in traffic, 33.3% contested catch rate in 2022, and he primarily lined up in the slot, 92.7% in the slot last season. And the dude needs clean get-offs. He struggled in the few times he actually saw press, and I will say it feels like sometimes he catches the ball with his pads, and you see his drop percentage kind of hover around that dangerous 10% area. Last year was 8.1, but big fan of McMillan. Let's go ahead to number 14, and that's Zakari Franklin, baby. I'm a huge fan. The former Roadrunner himself. He was a 2-star recruit out of the 2019 class, went to UTSA, where he started the final 4 games of his freshman year, but from there on out, he was a consistent starter. As a matter of fact, in 2021, he set single season records in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. And then in 2022, he topped all those numbers. And now he is like, I thought this guy was going to come out the last 2 years. He ended up not, and now he's going to the SEC. He's like, hey, I'll try my luck out there, and I'm really going to try to improve my draft stock. He's coming in at 6 foot, 190, has good speed. I feel like he's a girthy receiver. Like you'll see him go up at the catch point and just make boss moves. Shows very soft hands and knack for the acrobatic catch. 5.8% career drop rate. Very good. Wasn't really helped by the quarterback play. Frank Harris there could be a bit inaccurate with his ball placement, but he played both inside and out, and the dude just got that dog in him, and it just consistently shows up. There's instances of him just running through guys that are trying to keep him at the line or jam him at the line. He just goes right through him. He's tough to bring down after the catch. Last 2 seasons, 34 missed tackles on receptions. Very good route runner, stays low in his route. He's very crisp out of his breaks, knows how to use his hands to create separation. Sometimes he doesn't even need to use his hands. He's just so effective at selling his route. He's a bit of a car salesman at this point. I will say, though, he's got a bit of a slimmer build. Typically, the prototypical size you want to see your receivers are like above 5'11" and above 194. I will say in today's NFL, smaller receivers are kind of like running rampant, you know? So like it's not exactly a very strict number to stick to, like, oh no, these guys are too small for the position, they gotta go in the slot. I'm just saying, like, compared to the standard, it comes up a little bit slimmer, but based on what I've seen from his play, and just, again, this guy ran through guys trying to jam him up the line, I think he can play both inside and out. There are many cases where I thought he should have been flagged for pass interference. I don't think he's an elite speedster, nor is he like this twitched up athlete, which probably means, okay, tighter coverage, so maybe the PIs will be more prevalent, but like, he's a good athlete, don't get me wrong. It's just not on an elite level. I got him as a kind of this yards after catch type of weapon, but big fan of him. Got him at as a 3rd rounder. All right, we're gonna go to Georgia for this one, number 13, Myles McConkey. I was shocked. I did not I'm not gonna lie. I know that there's a stereotype out there. Okay, wide receiver. He's probably a polished route runner, but a mat athlete. And while he is polished, I can't say that he's a mat athlete. Coming in at 6 foot, 185, and this dude was kind of a stud back in high school at North Murray. He played quarterback, running back, wide receiver, returner, and he even punted in high school. Played basketball, ran on the track team. He ran a 10.85 second 100 meter. He ran a 4.56 40-yard dash. This was all in high school, by the way. His brother Hinton actually played quarterback over at West Georgia. And fun fact, man, this guy writes January 20th, 1916 on all of his game towels in honor of his late grandfather. So that's really cool. So he redshirts his freshman season. He started 7 games in 2021, 4 on the outside, 3 in the slot. And then he started 14 games last year, all on the outside. However, I do think he's probably ideally more of a slot guy in the NFL. But for me, I kind of look. This isn't a comparison to Cooper Kupp. This isn't. But I could see him as in terms of a similar split to Cooper Kupp, where he's playing like outside 30 to 35% of the time, and then the remainder of that he's in the slot. Just because I feel like he's kind of this, not even necessarily a low ceiling, but he doesn't have the highest ceiling or the highest upside in this class, but he's a very high floor player. Like, just solid all around. You can keep this cat on the field for all 3 downs because he's got that dog in him. He's a very good run blocker. I guess you got to be when you're playing for Georgia. Again, polished route runner. He's not afraid of contact. He won't shy away from the middle of the field. There's the track background's very apparent because he's very explosive off the line. He's explosive out of his breaks, and I think he legitimately can stretch the field, man. He's shown great body control, good stop-start ability. He combines that through with just being able to switch gears during his routes. And the feet, they're just so quick, man. It shines in every aspect of his game. He uses those quicks to get off a press, and he's just a slick route runner. in general, man. On the short to intermediate, man, he just plucks balls out of the air. However, on these deeper balls, right, I think he struggles sometimes tracking the ball downfield, and that's actually led to, or that's where many of his drops came, were on passes of 20 plus yards. 9.4% drop rate in 2022. And while I think he can line up on the outside, I think more physical cornerbacks or tighter coverage are gonna get to him, or they're gonna lead to less separation. So I think he probably should add some mass, but I think he's got like high-end slot potential. I really do. I'm a big fan of McConkey. I'm just adjusting my light here. All right, let's go on to, I believe this is number 12, and it's Malachi Corally out of Western Kentucky. And yeah, we're going to stick with the slot guys here. So he was a 2-star recruit coming out of 2020. He played cornerback and was initially recruited as a cornerback coming out of high school, but he played many positions in high school and ended up switching to receiver almost immediately, like prior to his freshman season, where he started only the season finale. It was a shortened year, though I think they played like 10 or 9 or 10 games. And he had 5 starts in 2021, and last year was kind of the coming out party for him. Because, like, remember, he was stuck behind in 2021. He was stuck behind, oh no, I think it's like Jareth Kearns? I can't remember, but also Mitchell Tinsley. But last year was his time to shine. Started all 14 games and was first team all Conference USA. And this dude is amazing. Like, he is a radically different player, I would say, as a route runner, because I feel like there's some hesitations and just still like some learning the nuance of the position compared to what he is with the ball in his hands, because he is a monster. He is dangerous with the ball in his hands. He is very decisive. He shows quick feet, good speed, high-end stop-start ability. He accelerates exceptionally well. All those are present when the ball is in his hands. And he has great contact balance, and he is a literal running back with the ball in his hands. He's shown a strong lower body. He can eat hits up top. His movements and his shakes, they're just so fluid. 40 forced missed tackles last season. That's an insane number for a wide receiver. He is not afraid to lower the shoulder into a wall of defenders. He's shown very sure hands, only 2.9% drop rate last season. And the few drops he had was just him trying to run with the ball or him trying to cut up field and look where he was going to go with the ball before securing the ball. However, he has been exclusively used as a slot player. 93.7% of his career snaps have come from the slot. Almost 70% of his targets came within the first 9 yards, and 40% of his routes were screens, all in 2022. This guy's more running back than he is receiver, I feel like, at this point. He's coming in at 5'11", 210 pounds. But his drop rate is nice, but I won't say he has natural ball skills, as you can look at his contested catches. Granted, 33.3% is not a terrible number when you're 5'11". It's just he doesn't consistently can fight through to the catch point in traffic or when contact's around. He just kind of lacks the height, the length to high point the football through defenders. And like I brought this up at the beginning, there's more hesitation in his movements when he's running more complex routes or longer routes. And again, the dude just feels more running back than wide receiver right now. But like, dude's a yak weapon. Yak yards after catch. 40 missed tackle rate is just a ludicrous number. Like, you got to talk about this guy potentially as a day 2 target, man. It's just freaking insane. All right, number 11, I got Johnny Wilson from Florida State. I wonder if people are going to be like bothered, because I've seen him high on a lot of people's lists. But I feel like this is a very good wide receiver class. And to be fair, I got a few guys ahead of him that I just kind of like project are going to have breakout years. But former 4-star recruit out of the 2020 class, went to initially Arizona State, ended up transferring after 2 years because he wasn't seeing a lot of playing time. And then his first year at Florida State, he made second team All SC or All ACC. The dude is 6'7", 240. That is his current listed weight at Florida State. He is huge at that size. Darn right, he is gonna be hard to bring down, and he could run through guys. Granted, that 9 forced missed tackles, that doesn't sound big compared to Corally, who we just talked about with 40. But keep in mind, Wilson also only had 43 receptions. So it's a better rate than what it seems. He literally can bounce off, like guys bounce off of him. He's just big, man. There aren't players built like him in the NFL. And those that are few and far between. And this dude gives his quarterback a garage door of a catch radius to throw at. He has the length to moss defenders at the catch point, 52.2% contested catch rate. That's a good number. I feel like at your size, it should be better, though. I will say that. He gets in the corner's face relatively quickly. I think he closes the cushion of guys in off coverage pretty well, and he'll just stack them there at the stem. He displays loose hips, and I think he's capable of exploding out of his first step. Though for a lot of people, they're going to want to see that number, that explosive number. They're going to want to see his 10-yard split. So they're going to want to just verify that. So that's something to kind of look forward, or I guess look for, but I mean, we won't be able to really test that until the combine or his pro day. Does a good job of selling his routes with head fakes and shoulder fakes, and at his size, he better be a plus blocker, and guess what? He is. Like, you can use him as a run blocker all over the place, whether it's outside, in motion, inside, in tight alignments. You can even throw him at tight end at that size. The dude is just built different. Separation won't be his game. The dude is huge. It should be. He's really going to rely on stacking corners at the top of routes. He's very much a one-cut route guy, and anything more complicated, I think, looks more clunky. But to be fair, I don't think he'll need that to succeed at the NFL level. Like, DK Metcalf wasn't the most, like, coming out wasn't the most nuanced route runner. That was actually a big knock on him, where he just rounded out a lot of his routes and whatnot. But dude came in and it was almost an immediate dominant force in the NFL. He does struggle with drops through his career, 14.1 drop rate, and there are times he's a bit of a body catcher. I think he just lacks high-end ball skills, because again, you expect that contested catch number to be higher at that size. Does take him a little bit sometimes to get going, especially straight line, but he's 240 pounds. You kind of expect it. I kind of have him as a big possession receiver. So let's go ahead and get into my top 10, and we're going to start with Oronde Gadsden the second. I think it's Oronde. I think that's how you say it. Correct me in the comment section below, but a lot of people are labeling him as a tight end. I can't see him being a tight end. That's not how Syracuse uses him. He's basically playing in the slot. I mean, I guess we'll get to it, but he's coming in at 6'5", 216 out of Syracuse. Had a breakout year last year. That's right, still third round projection. But former 3-star, his father is former Dolphin Oronde Gadsden. That's right, the second. No, he's the second. The first was his father. There we go. But that's cool. That's cool. If you didn't know, I'm a Dolphins fan. I got my Zach Thomas jersey back there. You might ask, why do you have Brady? Why do you have the Brady jersey? Well, I guess Gojo wants to come in and tell you himself. But it's because every good Dolphins fan knows who their daddy was for 20 years. And it was Tom Brady, unfortunately. Come on, Gojo. Come join the party. we're talking about a guy that Syracuse tries to pass off as a tight end. Okay, so the dude's a big boy. Big body. Love that. Good length build. Probably could put even more mass on if he wants to. Huge catch radius. He pairs that with very strong and very sure hands. 6.2% drop rate last year. He's a very good jump ball guy as well. Long strides. He can close the space between him and the corner exceptionally quickly. Smoother than you'd expect, and he can just ruin defenders at the stem. Absorbs contact well, and he keeps that big frame just upright. And he can gain yards in chunks after the catch. He's just so big and hard to bring down. Gaston is listed as a tight end for Syracuse, but he only played actually 2% of his snaps in line. Just saying, he functioned more as a big slot, and that's what I have him listed as. He did exceptionally well in that role, though, and I think he blocked well in that role. However, that ain't gonna happen if you put him in line. He's just not gonna be a good blocker in line. I think you could get away with him in the slot, but nah, don't put him in line. Very much a straight line athlete who kind of struggles to get separation on the consistent basis. And I'll say this: he's a competitor, and he can play. He's a competitor, but he can play with more nasty to him. Like whether it's blocking or as a ball carrier, I want him to turn up the violence a little bit. Like start imposing that size you have a little bit more. But I got him here at number 9 or number 10. Let's go ahead to my number 9 as it's Moose Muhammad out of Texas A&M. And I will say he's probably one of the guys on this list with the least production to his name right now. He was former 4-star recruit coming to that 2020 class. He handled return duties in high school. His father is Muhsin Muhammad. If you don't remember, he's a Carolina Panther great, man. I grew up on him and Steve Smith. I remember Jake Delahome going to that one Super Bowl and losing to that guy. Hate that guy. So he redshirted his freshman season, was more of a reserve in 2021, and then he started 6 games in the slot. However, at 6'1", 205, I do think he can play outside a bit more. He's kind of got the size, and I think he's got the appropriate physicality for it, but we'll kind of get into it. He's just a smooth athlete. He has good variety with his release package, whether it's footwork, body fakes, or just kind of muscling smaller guys. He's a crisp route runner who can switch gears during the route. He does a good job of selling routes as well. Body shakes, like the way he his shoulder shakes, head shakes, just freaking phenomenal. Love it. He closes the room on defenders exceptionally quickly, displays sharp and explosive feet out of his break, and he understands how to run routes and utilize a leverage. He has very strong hands, only a 5% drop rate in 2022, and he's shown to be a consistent jump ball guy, 61.5% on contested catches. That's a very good number. He's shown to be pretty darn good after the catch and does a great job of bouncing off contact and falling upfield. He had 10 forced missed tackles on 38 receptions in 2022. I will say, I don't think he is he's not an elite athlete. I think he's kind of a borderline top end athlete. He sometimes can be bullied off his route, and that just kind of disrupts the timing with him and the quarterback. And I don't think he possesses a true trump card to consistently win prior to the pass. He's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. He mainly played in the slot, but he has the tools to play a bit on the outside. His lack of launch speed means he won't be feared as a consistent vertical threat. So at this point, he's kind of a bit of a projection on the outside, and that's where I'm projecting him. He is inconsistent as a run blocker and doesn't always play with the necessary physicality like he does when he's running routes. But all in all, man, I'm a big fan of Moose Muhammad here. Gotta let Gojo out. There you go, Gojo. And you might be like, who's number 8? Who? Well, shoot. Let me give y'all the juice. Juice Wells Jr., man. Antoine, real name, nickname Juice, but he has such an interesting journey. He's one of my favorite players in this class. 6'1", 210, former 0-star recruit out of the 2019 class. His grades actually made him ineligible to play D1 football. And on another crazy side note, he has 6 sisters. It's a lot of sisters. So he ended up going to Fort Union in Virginia prior to making the D1 leap, since he was kind of ineligible. And straight up, this dude got his act together academically. And I have so much respect for that. Because I'm just going to go ahead and read the note I have on him here. Like, I just really like his character. He talked about his early academic struggles and about him just being a lazy student and how it resulted in him not being recruitable. The difference a year makes as he goes from a lazy student to a year in, year out honor roll student. Like he made honor roll all at JMU, and then he was all SEC honor roll. So I love that. He was like, I have a problem. I need to get this corrected if I want to take football seriously. And he did it. I freaking love that, man. He's got a great head on his shoulders. Now, let's talk about the rest of his journey. He was at James Madison, where in 2021, he started all 14 games and he set single season receiving records in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Still was only FCS second team All-American. That was obviously, this was prior to JMU making the leap to FBS. But he transferred to South Carolina, started 6 games, made second team All SEC. Kind of like took the SEC by storm. Like, he's a very good, very explosive athlete, stays low when beginning engagement, and accelerates well out of his breaks. He shows very good footwork when working in one-on-one situations, and he's just very smooth. He plays with good shake to him. Tracks the ball exceptionally well in air, and he attacks the catch point. Displays a very strong, very sure hands. 2.8% drop rate. 95% of his catchable targets were caught in 2022. Gotta love it. He's shifty in the open space, and he has a strong lower body, making him difficult to bring down. And he goes from pass catcher to ball carrier exceptionally quickly. 19 forced missed tackles in 2022. Big fan. He isn't the most nuanced route runner right now. He needs to learn how to use his hands a bit more during the route and how to leverage defenders. And he just doesn't always consistently get good separation. You kind of saw a bit, I don't want to call them lazy routes, but you could kind of see him kind of round his cuts and whatnot. I would say he's more explosive than quick. It may lack ideal launch speed to be a consistent vertical target, but like, man, he accelerates pretty darn freaking quickly. Here, I'm just gonna change a word in my notes. Instead of quick, I'm gonna say fast. That sounds better. But yeah, I got him here at number 8, man. I'm a big fan. Like I'm saying, this class is really, really good. All right, number 7, Troy Franklin out of Oregon, coming in at 6'2", 178. So yeah, he's a bit of a leaner, I believe is the nicer term. He's a leaner athlete, but 4-star recruit out of the 2021 class. Started 4 games for Oregon in 2021. Then he started all 13, made second team All Pac-12. Love to see it. And he is just very put together as a route runner. Really is. He uses his length exceptionally well. He's got quick feet to get off the line of scrimmage. Displays a great understanding of how to work leverage versus quarterbacks. Deadly red zone threat. 6 TDs in the red zone last year. Love to see it. Strong hands, 32% drop rate. He effectively high points the football, and he can go up and win jump balls. 63.6% contested catch rate. Love to see it. He made a variety of highlight reel catches. Just a great combo of just a great combination of length, hops, and body control here. Misspelled combination. He has long strides, and that long speed makes him a scary vertical threat. And as a ball carrier, he showed great creativity with the ball in his hands and the ability to gain extra yards after the catch. 13 forced missed tackles. He could tightrope the sideline for an extra 5 to 10. The dude needs to put mass on his frame. It's as simple as that. He's just super lanky. He's super lean. He needs more mass. He isn't the greatest run blocker, and he lacks that physicality when engaging corners, whether that's during the route or as a run blocker. Also, sometimes you see that in press and after the catch. His route running, I would say he runs routes as they're drawn out. I think I'd like to see a bit, and how I say that is like there's not much deviation to what he does. There isn't like there isn't much creativity or an ability to improv when needed to get to, say, like maybe finding the soft spots in zone coverage or just finding room in the secondary. There isn't much improvisation. If it's like he needs to get to a certain landmark, he's going to run it how it's drawn on paper, rather than it's like, okay, let me get there like via this way with a couple of shakes, or maybe selling something different, false steps, stuff like that. But last year was really his first full year as a starter, and I thought he looked quite good. I was a big fan. Lions are signing Justin Jackson. Interesting. Side note there. But let's go ahead to number 6. I got Rome Odunze. Otto Washington coming in at 6'3", 211, former 4-star recruit from the 2020 class. Did go to Bishop Gorman in Vegas. If you're not familiar, man, they pump out a lot of prospects, like a lot of high-end recruits. Played receiver and returner in high school. He was a decorated sprinter on the track team, winning state titles in the 200 meter and the 4x100 relay. He only started one game in the shortened season in 2020. 2020 was kind of a throwaway year for a lot of us. Played 9 games in 2021 with 7 starts, and then last season he played in 12 games with 8 starts. He did miss the Portland State game, but that was more of a precautionary. Like he was a little banged up, and they were like, it's Portland State. We should murder these guys. So we're not going to send you out there just to get hurt. Led the Pac-12 in receiving yards and was a first-team All-Pac-12. The dude's got great size, good length. He combines that with really good speed. The size and speed just makes him a tough ask for any defender, and he's going to demand help over the top. The dude is that good. He's explosive off the line. He's explosive out of his breaks. Quick strides. Gets him to the stem very quickly. He's shown a bit of sauciness to put defenders in a blender. And honestly, he's a better route runner than I expected, especially in tight quarters. Like his speed, his fluidity as a separator, it just makes him very appealing. And he has that catch me if you can after the catch. Like that's kind of his thing. It's like, okay, after catch, all right, let me just get to top speed and see what you can do about it. 10 forced missed tackles last season. Again, not the best number, but it's not a bad number at all either. The dude's got suddenness and patience as a ball carrier as well. He can play outside. He could play in the slot. The biggest gripes I have is he kind of just feels like this uber athlete playing receiver, and not really. He needs to iron out some of the finer. He needs to iron out the finer things about being a wide receiver, because like it's not like he's got natural ball skills. He's more of a body catcher, and while like I would say his hands are consistent, he isn't consistently high pointed the football. Like his overall coordination just seems off, and like when going up for the football, that you kind of just tell by the tape. Like 8 of 27 on contested catch opportunities. He plays tall off the line of scrimmage, and he needs to do a better job of kind of sinking his hips in his route. The play strength could be much better too when coming off the line if he decides to play a bit lower. And I will say he's not a make you miss guy as a ball carrier. He's a I'm gonna fly by you guy. I think James Cook, running back out of Georgia, when he was coming out, that was like it's literally the same thing. He's more of a I'm gonna try to run by you and make you miss an ankle tackle or a heel tackle. But yeah, no, like all in all, like huge potential. I see why people love him. Second round grade though, currently. I got him as a really good deep threat just because, again, the athleticism. But if you could iron out some of the finer things of the position, then I could definitely see him in this first round. I mean, he's like a top 40 guy for me, so it's like he just missed it. All right, number 5, I got Xavier Worthy out of Texas. Talk about stream being. We got 6'1", 172. But there's a lot to like about this cat. Former 4-star recruit out of the 2021 class. Ran track in high school, ran a 10.55 100-meter dash, and that was as a sophomore. This guy's going to be running in the 4.3s. He started all 12 games for Texas in 2021, where he set freshman single season records in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Made first team All Big 12, and he was a first team All American. He won Big 12 Offensive Freshman of the Year and Big 12 Newcomer of the Year. So he was walking into 2022 with a lot of accolades. However, he did start all 13 games. He also handled punt return duties, but it wasn't nearly as dominant, and I got a couple of reasons why, but he's second team, made second team All Big 12, so still pretty decorated. Worthy just plays fast, like legitimately plays the game at like ×2 speed in everything he does. Route runner, we got ball carrier, returner. He just flies. He can run by corners and safeties, tear the top off of defenses. Very quick feet, displays great body control, very crisp when selling routes. Bit of a car salesman when selling double moves. I love that analogy. That's why I'm using it this whole video. But once he gets initial separation, it's like a leak in a dam or a dike. Eventually, it turns into a flood of separation. His change of direction, stop-start ability. The dude's just a phenomenal athlete. 14 forced missed tackles last season. Didn't surprise me Texas gave him punt return duties. And the dude's got hops as well, man. Like, he can go up and snag the football, especially in the red zone. I think he could do it downfield as well. He just needs to put more mass on that frame, and he could be even more dangerous in that regard. Primarily played on the outside throughout his career, and honestly, I think he could stick to the outside because he's just tough to put a hand on. Dude does need to bulk up. He does look overmatched when engaging contact. Like, legitimately, it's kind of scary when he gets hit. You're almost waiting for him to get hit and not get up because of injury. So he did put on 8 pounds prior to this season, but 172 is still a very, very low number. Some puzzling drops. And I think part of that is just he's not... I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, it's when no one's around him. Like 10.6% drop rate. It's kind of big, man. I want to say much of them were focus drops. Him just kind of like looking upfield before securing the catch. But he also struggled tracking the ball downfield, and as we'll see, he was asked to be more of a vertical target this past season, which is why I think some of the production went down, because his forced missed tackles significantly went down. But it's also like, you look, he was asked to do more with the vertical route tree. His average depth of target went from 13 yards to 17 yards. However, he saw a similar volume underneath. That's the thing. Like if you look at catches of 9 yards or less, he had 4 forced missed tackles on 37 receptions this past season compared to 2021, where he had 11 forced missed tackles on 36 receptions. So I'm just hoping for a bit of a bounce back from him, but there's a lot to like just in terms of speed. I think this is a guy you can move anywhere and he could be a legit weapon. So yeah, I like him. Kind of akin to Zay Flowers. I think Zay Flowers' game was a bit different. Let's go ahead to number 4. I got Keon Coleman out of Florida State, but he's playing his first year at Florida State here. Former 4-star recruit out of the 2021 class, played wide receiver and defensive back in high school. Also ran track and field. Also played basketball, where he averaged 26 points per game in high school. And fun fact, he went to Michigan State, right? And he was mainly a special teamer his freshman year. And then he actually played 6 games for the Spartans in basketball before ultimately deciding to focus on football. Started 12 games last year where he led the team in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns, made 3rd team All Big Ten. Then he transferred here now to Florida State, and we'll see what he can do. But 6'4", 215 he's a great blend of size, speed, strength. He moves so well at his size. He can create separation with long strides. He can make defenders miss after the catch. 9 forced missed tackles on 58 receptions. And to be fair, a lot of that is, hey, I'm big and I'm just going to be hard to bring down, but he's got a little shake to him sometimes. I think he's gonna run in the 4.4s, and the dude just flashes like this. I can be a star X wide receiver. He's got that potential. Huge catch radius, great frame, great length. Creates separation at the catch point with very subtle hands. Shows strong hands at the contested catch, 62.5% last season. The dude's just a jump ball winner. He doesn't only have sure hands, but he also can make the highlight reel catches and the athletic catches. 4.9% drop rate last year. And he has late hands. That's what I really like about him when he high points the football. So he won't flash his hands till late. So he really doesn't give a clue to where the football is going to be to the corner or the defensive back. And the dude just completely removes defenders in the run game. Like his combination of size and strength is just too much to overcome for a lot of secondary players in the run game. He does lack the shimmy and the shake during his routes to create separation, and really relies on his size and his physicality. Quicker feet can help his routes to be a bit more crisp and precise. But overall, like he's a bigger guy, so you're not going to expect that from him. He can be a bit pushy at the catch point and could be something he's flagged more for in the NFL. But like this is the dude. If someone's gonna have an ascension up this list, this is the guy. But at number 3, you got Emeka Abuka out of Ohio State, coming in at 6'1", 205. A lot to like about this cat's game as well. Former 5-star recruit out of the 2021 class, played wide receiver, defensive back, and return man his high school season. He was Washington's Gatorade Player of the Year his junior year. Didn't play his senior year because of the Rona. He ended up being enrolling early at Ohio State because of it. And this is weird, right? But he was the national champion at MLB's pitch, hit, and run competition for 7 to 8-year-olds in 2011. So, cool. He was mainly a reserve because he was stuck behind Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and Jackson Smith into Jigba. He was really just the kick returner in 2021, had 580 yards returned, but became the starter in 2022, 2nd team All Big 12. And the dude's just a great athlete. Love his feet, love the short area quicks, change of direction. Doesn't surprise me that he was used in the return game with his ability to make people miss. It just urges you to put the ball in his hands and put the ball in his hands early. He gets moving really quickly. He's very shifty as a route runner. He knows how to fluctuate that speed throughout the route. Good burst out of his breaks. He returns physicality for physicality is something I really like during his routes. And he just displays a great understanding of how to run routes. Like he just creates space and he uses cushion, or at least the cushion that he's given by corners to his advantage. Very smooth. He has the speed to take the top off of defenses. He is just a threat whenever the offense has him, like wherever the offense has him positioned, whether it's in the slot, you can maybe throw him in the backfield. I love it. Does a great job of high pointing the football. Drop rate was really good, 6.3%. And much like many other former Ohio State receivers, he is a very effective run blocker. However, he was primarily used in the slot during his first 2 years at Columbus. 66% of the time, he was in the slot. I do wish I saw more broken tackles with how quickly Ohio State gives him the football. So I want to see that rate go up for him, and which is why I have my number 2 ahead of him, which we'll talk about in a second. When he drops the football, it's usually him looking upfield before securing the catch. So focus drops, not a big deal. More wins on the outside versus press would go a long way, but I think at the very least, he is an elite slot receiver at the next level. But my number 2 is Malik Neighbors, and I'm straight up. Big thing that separates these guys is what Neighbors did after the catch. 21 forced missed tackles in 2022. But former 4-star recruit, and he ran track in high school. Love to see it. He played basketball. Had 6 starts in the slot. And then this season, he had 11 starts. Only his first came in the slot. The rest were on the outside. This dude ran a 4.40 in high school. He had a 40.5 inch vert in high school. I expect those numbers to be much better when the combine comes around. This dude plays in fast forward, just a great athlete, smooth out of his breaks, love the change of direction, extremely quick feet, knows how to fluctuate that speed during the route, explodes out of his breaks. He can win over the top. He plays very well when the ball is in air. 5% drop rate, sure hands. He can make the acrobatic catch. Love to see it. He adjusts his body well to the ball, or at least to the pass, and he always knows where his feet are, so he can get those feet down if it's along the sideline. He worked inside and out. He had 179 snaps in the slot last season, but he had 266 on the outside. He just knows how to use his hands at the line of scrimmage and during the route. Again, we could talk about he goes from pass catcher to ball carrier really quickly, but I kind of already talked about those 21 forced missed tackles. And you know what? His physicality shows up. It shows up in the contested catch. 62% contested catch rate in 2022. Absolutely love it. Like, the dude, I will say, if we're going to nitpick, I would say he is a willing blocker, but not always the best blocker in the run game. He's 6 foot, 199, and he lacks that conventional size, or at least his lack of conventional size does show up at times, and he's just unable to keep engagement with the run block or with defenders. Despite his athletic profile, he isn't the most crisp route runner yet, and there's sometimes where he rounds out the more complex routes. So I expect that to get better, just a little more nuance. But I absolutely loved Neighbors' tape, man. I was like, man, I'd take this guy, and I'd take him very, very early. I mean, parts of his game reminded me a bit of Garrett Wilson. So, and I was a big Garrett Wilson fan when he came out. So, I think that's why I was just so drawn to him. All right. But let's go ahead to number 1 because everyone already knows it. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. I'd be shocked if anyone didn't have him at number 1. But yeah, the dude completely deserves it. Former 4-star recruit out of the 2021 recruiting class. Father of Colts Hall of Famer Marvin Harrison. So yeah, the guy can play receiver good. There's actually that's a couple now. A couple of guys who had fathers playing in the NFL, because we talked about Moose Muhammad. So wow, fun fact there. That's very interesting. He actually went to high school with Kyle McCord. So might be McCord's favorite target this season. The numbers can get better, so I'm kind of excited for that. But dude was first team All-American last year, had 77 receptions for over 1,200 yards, 14 tutties. The dude is the best player whenever he is on the field. His production, it just speaks for himself. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. He's one of the best route runners in this class. You can't jam this guy at the line. His release off of early contact is just impressive. He can quickly get loose with long, powerful arms. He's muscular throughout his frame. And he's able to play through contact and keep the route on time. He knows how to sell routes with head fakes, shoulder fakes, false steps, uses quick feet and strong hands to create separation early. He wins on the line. He wins at the stem. He can stack corners with ease. The dude just wins. He has strong hands, 3.8% drop rate. He can high point the football exceptionally well. He can make the acrobatic catch. We know that he had that one catch. Was it against Nebraska? I can't remember, where it looked like he broke his leg. But the dude's just that flexible. And another guy that has those late hands. The hands will go up right as the ball arrives, not letting the corner know where the location of the ball may be coming. Against single coverage, he was utterly dominant. Almost over 900 yards, and all 14 of his touchdowns came in single coverage. Like many of the other Ohio State receivers, yes, he's a good run blocker. The dude's got a big, strong frame, and he will follow the ball carrier downfield. Was it the Akron game, I believe, where he followed, was it, I want to say it was Mayan Williams, but I'm not positive. But he makes a block, and then he follows his ball carrier all the way downfield to make another block. It was nuts. Honestly, anything about him is going to be nitpicking. I mean, the dude's 6'4", 205. Great size for the position. But everything from here out is just kind of nitpicking. I don't think he has elite speed. I think it wouldn't shock me if he was in the 4.45 to 4.45 at best to 4.5, let's say 1.452 area. It's kind of where I expect him to be. So not top end speed, but still good speed nonetheless. Doesn't create a ton after the catch. He only had 9 forced missed tackles, and only 320 of his yards came after the catch. But that's fine. This guy's a star X wide receiver. He's phenomenal. He can win long. He can win short. He can win intermediate. The dude just can win. But I guess before this video gets too long, let me wrap up by just talking about a few of the guys that just missed the list. Going to my slot guys real quick. I actually really like Jacob Cohen and Mario Williams. Both Pac-12, but they're both undersized. They're going to be slot only guys to me. Dominic Lovett, I'm excited to see more of this year, but I have a feeling I feel like there's a lot more of his game needs to be put together, and I don't expect him to come out next year, but he could have a pretty dominant year. But those 3 guys I have as slot prospects that I'm a big fan of. Looking at the guy, A.D. Mitchell, that's going to be a big name. People are going to be mad left off, but the dude needs production. I'm sorry. To be fair, he would have been 16 on this list, but he needs production. Dorian Senior, he's been undersized. like it's 180, and I think that kind of shows up. He doesn't really create after the catch. Like the contact balance isn't like phenomenal. Like he gets hit, but he'll fall forward, but he can't really break. Force missed tackles, like I think he only had 5 last year. But I think he's a good receiver. There's Brew McCoy, who I think is this nice big vertical deep threat. Something I learned about myself when watching, guys, I have all my big vertical deep threats like ranked from like they're either 5th or 6th rounders, or early day 3 or 6th rounders. So maybe I'm just not a fan of big vertical threat guys. But Brew McCoy I thought was pretty nice, but I don't know. I don't think it was that shifty. I didn't think he did too much outside of like run guys over. But I mean, there's a place for that. He's got good size. Denzel or Devontae Walker, who's making the transition from Kent State. I believe it was Kent State, right? Yeah, it was Kent State to North Carolina. I think another guy with good size at 6'2", 200. That's just kind of a straight line guy. He's a guy that'll win with speed. Jermaine Burton, I'm hoping he claps back. I got a midday 3 grade on him. Last year wasn't exactly ideal, and I want to see him do more for the offense. Like he didn't exactly expand his route tree. He wasn't like phenomenal after the catch. So like he was my guy that I thought was going to break out last year that just didn't. But all in all, man, there's a lot of good receivers in this class. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing as always. Until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.